Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Cosmic Consciousness with Kassia. On this channel, we discuss all aspects of the ascension process. Today, we're going to be talking about the third Mercury retrograde of 2022. And yes, Mercury does go retrograde 4 times this year. That fourth time will take us from the end of 2022 into 2023. And we'll talk about that one when we get to it. I do believe that the first Mercury retrograde video that I did for this year of 2022 goes over the combined energy of these 4 retrogrades and outlines when each of them is taking place. So if you guys want to look back at that first video, that information should be there. But for this video, we're focusing on that third retrograde, which is a big one. We've been talking about this quite a bit. As Mercury stations retrograde during the 9/9 portal and the full moon in Pisces, this energy is huge. And the ripple effects of it and sort of the integration of it and the activations and the downloads are going to continue throughout Mercury's retrograde. And also I'm feeling throughout the rest of Jupiter's retrograde as well. Mercury is going to be in an opposition of varying intensity to Jupiter throughout most of this retrograde, as well as moving into a loose opposition with Neptune and trine with Pluto. And that energy gets tighter and tighter as we move into the second part of the retrograde. To give you guys some details as far as the degrees and the numbers go here, we have the retrograde beginning during that 9/9 portal, like we said, at 8 degrees of Libra. On the 23rd of September, Mercury will enter the sign of Virgo and will complete his retrograde at 24 degrees of Virgo. And then from that point forward, we have what we call the post-shadow period, where Mercury then begins to stations direct and begins to retrace the degrees that he went over during his retrograde. And so that shadow period is going to be complete on the 16th of October when Mercury returns to 8 degrees of Libra. And that's when we really begin to feel these energies fully dissolving. When we talk about Mercury retrograde, part of what we're talking about the energy of the mind, right? The way that our minds work, the way that they process information, the way that we communicate information. This can also relate to social media. This can relate to electronics. All of these different things can be impacted during Mercury retrograde because these are areas that Mercury rules. And so we can always kind of expect that some of those energies might rear their heads, and the best thing we can do is simply be prepared for it. But the biggest energy of Mercury retrograde and why it's so important is because this is a period where our perspective shifts. Our minds are working in an opposing way to how they typically work. So for people who are very linearly focused, our intuitive mind takes over. For people who work mostly with their intuitive mind, their linear mind takes over more. And it gives us a fresh perspective and a fresh lens through which to view the events in our lives, as well as our own mental processes and what's going on in our mental bodies. And we are absolutely going to be doing this. I'm feeling during this third retrograde here, a major, and we're always rewiring the brain and the mind during Mercury retrogrades. We're also giving ourselves an opportunity for the integration, right? Retrograde is that rest period where we are able to integrate. But there's been a huge rewiring going on. We've been talking about this since 2020, and we're really moving into a profound sort of energy of it during this third retrograde, especially where Mercury is retrograding. I believe it was just the last Mercury retrograde we had where Mercury retrograded into Gemini, which was a sign that Mercury rules. Mercury is now retrograding from Libra, which is an air sign, though it's an air sign ruled by an earth planet, right? Ruled by Venus, which is very earthy energy. It into Virgo, which is the other sign that Mercury rules. And interestingly enough, Virgo is an earth sign ruled by an air planet. So we have actually the two signs rather, who have the most interesting or the opposing energy ruling them. And what I mean by that is most planets, if you look at the sign that they rule, that sign has those characteristics, right? Like, for example, Mercury rules Gemini. Gemini is an air sign. We have Venus rather, that rules Taurus, which is a very earthy, grounded, sensual energy, right? That makes sense. And so on and so forth. But Libra, an air sign, which you would think might be ruled by Mercury or Uranus, is ruled by Venus. So it has that earthy quality to it. And Virgo, a planet or a sign rather that is an earth energy, is ruled by an air planet. I hope that I got that out right. So we got the two that are flipped, right? The earth sign with the air planet and the air sign with the earthy planet that Mercury is going to be traveling through during this retrograde. And anytime that Mercury retrogrades into a sign that it rules, or an air sign, we really feel that very acutely. So this is going to be huge. And that opposition with Jupiter, as well as these aspects being made to Pluto and Neptune, really shows that there's a deep shift going on within our consciousness. Things are really being rewired. Our mental bodies and capacities are being expanded. Our belief systems are being restructured in a really big way. And this is especially true when it comes to our belief systems around relationships, as well as with that Virgo energy, like we've been talking about, our self-talk and the ways that our minds work on an individual level, right? The ways that we're talking to ourselves, the ways that we're thinking about and seeing ourselves. That is a huge energy, as well as relationships, that's going to be undergoing a metamorphosis during this Mercury retrograde. And as we said, kind of continuing through that Jupiter retrograde as well. It's going to be really intense. When we also want to look at the sign of Libra and understand that energy a little more. And the way that I'm feeling this energy as Mercury retrogrades through Libra, yes, of course, Libra represents partnership. It represents the seventh house. So that brings that relationship energy in even more profoundly, right? That's a big reason why we're going to be experiencing this. But it also has an energy of justice to it. And I'm really feeling this energy with this retrograde of justice when it comes to all areas of our lives, really, but especially when it comes to relationships. So this is karmic closeouts. This is finding closure finally in relationships. This is for some reconciliation, but for a lot of people, it's simply that energy of closure. Just that energy of finally feeling like there was justice in a situation, and that justice may or may not come in the way that we expected or thought we wanted or needed it. But it will come in the way that is most appropriate. So we may, as we often do during Mercury retrogrades, have people reaching back out to us, people from the past, people who want to mend situations or want to at least have that closure. We're also going to be given the opportunity to see things from different perspectives. And so during this Mercury retrograde, we may realize that some of our relationships and the things that happened in them, we saw through a little bit of our own skewed perception. Like maybe what we thought and the way we interpreted events wasn't exactly the way that things went. Maybe our own bias and our own wounding. There's more words I want to use here, but you guys, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want to talk about here. Just a lot of psychic activations, huge breakthroughs possible around self-talk, around self-love, around perspective, around justice, harmony, equality. There's going to be a huge focus during this Mercury retrograde on understanding and seeing where it is that we are compatible or not with our partners, with our friends. This relationship energy goes beyond the intimate romantic energy, right? And there's also going to be an energy of, sorry, I totally lost my train of thought there. We're talking about the energy of just seeing where we're compatible and where we're not, where it is that there is that reciprocity in our relationships and where there isn't, where it is that we perhaps have been giving more than taking or taking more than giving, and vice versa, and how it is that we can balance out these energies. This retrograde is all about balancing our mental energies, balancing our relationships, balancing our views of ourselves and others. And really, I'm feeling the energy of humility. And I was told once that humility is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. And it's also of seeing and understanding accurately all of your strengths and your weaknesses. right? We're not putting ourselves above or below anybody else. A lot of people, when it comes to the energy of humility, think that being humble means putting yourself below other people. That's not what it means at all. It means understanding that we are all on an even playing field, right? Not elevating ourselves too far above or too far below, but being right at this center point. And so there may be some people who are coming to a deeper understanding of that. This retrograde is going to affect the mutable and cardinal signs the most, as well as, of course, the air and the fire signs I'm feeling as well, and the earth signs. So for almost everybody, and even if you don't, somehow you fall into one of those categories, I am sure, in your natal chart. So essentially, this retrograde is going to impact everybody, just at different levels of intensity. So what do I want to pull to get us started here? I think I want to pull some, I want to say the Sacred Spirit. Is this what I was seeing in my mind? Yeah. Some Sacred Spirit Oracle cards, actually, for this Mercury retrograde. And I may pull from the Cosmic Reading cards as well. All right. Clear. Let's talk about this Mercury retrograde. As we said, we are going to be integrating the downloads that we received, the activations that we received during that 9/9 portal, and really putting those into practice in our lives. Yeah, we're going to pull from the Cosmic Reading cards as well. But we're gonna pull from this deck first. Tell us about Mercury retrograde, third Mercury retrograde of 2022. Whoa, okay. So we have the Ascended Masters coming out. And this card also says create open communication. So there's a powerful communication coming in for us from the astral realms, from the higher realms, the other dimensions, from our guides and our teams. So be really aware of that. Meditation is going to be a really great way to connect with your spiritual team and your higher self. This energy with the Neptune and Pluto action going on really, to me, feels like an energy. I don't think we talked about this in the summary of the energies there. It feels like an energy that's really connecting us with our higher selves, rewiring us to respond to and embody our higher selves on a whole different level, to really be able to reach on a mental level that higher mentality and insight and understanding, and bring that into and incorporate that with our linear mind and linear thinking. So we're really being called to meditate when we're experiencing Mercury retrograde. And anyone who's very mercurial, meditation is so important. This is how we balance the mental body. This is how we allow for the integration. This is where we digest all of the information, is in meditation, when we quiet the mind. Anybody who has a very active mind, meditation is key. It's going to be more challenging for those of us with an active mind, but it's going to bring the greatest rewards, because people with really active minds, we tend to have really high anxiety, right? We tend to run at a greater stress level than other people. And we tend to really lack the ability to be present, because when you're in your mind all the time, you are never present in the moment. And so meditation is so important for everyone, but especially people who are very mercurial or very much in their heads and have an active mental body to begin with. This Mercury retrograde may intensify that for people. And so really take that time to meditate. This is also a message coming through, and spiritual evolution, just so we know before we keep going, was the third card that came out. This is a message for anybody who's been frustrated because they feel like they haven't been receiving they don't have the kind of connection they want with their guides. It's because you're not taking the time to. You need to take the appropriate amount of time to meditate and to cultivate your spiritual practices. And we talked about this in, I want to say, the Virgo season video, or one of them, the importance of creating these regular, consistent spiritual practices, really flexing that spiritual muscle, that psychic muscle. That's how you build psychic ability, psychic connection, is by flexing those muscles. And I received a communication or a transmission the other night from some of my star family, and they mentioned the importance of being in an aligned state energetically, of maintaining a certain vibration, and really cutting out all of the excess chatter in the mind and the excess obsessing and worrying over stuff that really ultimately at the end of the day is inconsequential. And it was a little, it was all very kind, right? But the gist or the energy underneath it, it could be interpreted as slightly insensitive, right? Saying that the day-to-day things that I worry about, using me as an example right now, are inconsequential, but in the grander scheme of everything, they really truly are. And so it was like, stop getting all caught up in stuff that doesn't matter, and really focus your energy, keep your energy as clear and clean as possible, so that this communication is easier. All right, keep yourself in that higher vibration through these grounded spiritual habits, creating this spiritual wellness routine, if you will. And part of that routine for each and every single one of us should be meditation, some form of meditation. We all meditate differently. It doesn't for everyone entail sitting cross-legged, staring at a wall. All right, there's lots of different ways to meditate. So find the way. Movement can be meditation. Whatever gets you in that clear headspace where you're not thinking. If you're not thinking, you're meditating. That's the simplest way to put it. So what gets you into that place where your mind is quiet? Your body may be moving in order for your mind to be quiet, and that's fine. That's still meditation, as long as you found a way to make the mind or to allow the mind to be quiet. We don't want to say make, because when we're struggling against the mind, we're never going to get anywhere. And there is a deep evolution here. There is set your heart free is what this says. And so for a lot of us, there is this, and that I'm feeling that card, especially right now. Set your heart free. What is chaining your heart? What is holding your heart hostage is what it feels like. Is this a situation from the past that you're ready to purge yourself, cleanse yourself, and move on from? Is it just, what is it that holds your heart in bondage? I actually want to pull a couple Intuit Oracle cards around this set your heart free energy right here. The spiritual evolution energy. Clear. Let's give us some guidance here for this spiritual evolution card, setting your heart free. What does this entail? Set your heart free. Tell me more about this. Tell us more. And the Ascended Masters was a 2 energy, by the way. All right, interesting. So we have the Woman coming out. This is feminine energy. With the Queen of Air. All right, so, and this is specifically the Aquarius fixed air card. All right, but this is feminine air, a feminine air sign energy coming through here. And this would be also the equivalent of the Star card in the tarot, which is all about healing, right? Trust, vulnerability, our psychic gifts. So our feminine energy receiving some sort of liberation here, right? The ruling planet of Aquarius and this card, the Queen of Air, is Uranus. So there's that energy of our feminine really breaking free. And that reminds me, something that I forgot to mention when I was doing the, talking about the energies of this Mercury retrograde, is on the 26th of September, at 26 degrees of Virgo, I believe it's Virgo, we have a conjunction of Venus and Mercury. So that's going to be really powerful. And I'm double checking this. Yeah, the 26th, September 26th at 26 degrees of Virgo, we have a conjunction of Venus and Mercury, and they're going to be opposing Jupiter. So this is a big energy. That's going to be a big day. That 2626, which breaks down to an 88. I'm definitely feeling that energy. It felt like a very, like a divine union kind of an energy, right? With that infinity, those 8s. Just a real huge activation of our feminine and our heart space. And really merging the head with the heart. that energy is really going to assist us in that on the 26th. That's going to be a huge merger of head and heart. So we may, I don't know, maybe we'll end up doing a reading about that. Who knows? But that's really beautiful. That's big energy coming up. Let's get a little more here. So healing, beautiful, profound healing for our divine feminine. Then we have the tree, grounding, health, lineage, roots, past lives. Ooh, yes. All right, so during this Mercury retrograde, there's a major healing, ancestral healing, past life healing of our feminine energy and our divine feminine lineage. So really working with the feminine energies in our lineage. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, however you identify, right? This energy, you have a masculine and a feminine energy, and you have a feminine side to your lineage. All right, so there's huge, huge healing and liberation of our divine feminine lineage, past lives centering around our feminine energy. Anywheres where that energy, right? We asked about what was chained. All right, why are we setting our heart free? What is holding it in bondage? And so it's something to do with this feminine energy. And this is like liberation of this energy for your ancestors as well, like we said. And a lot of it has to do with this, right? Aquarius, it's the opinionated, individualistic, assertive energy, right? This Queen of Air card. So with our ability to assert ourselves, right? With the divine feminine's ability to be her own person, to be independent, to have opinions, to have a voice, to be able to be herself and live in her truth. And so we're liberating our ancestors as we step more powerfully into this energy. Anything else here regarding that? We have the Fox coming out. Okay, let's get a little more energy about that. This is stealth. This can also often be deceit or something. We'll see here. With the Wolverine, interesting. I feel like what this is saying is that some of this liberation of our feminine energy, and for the feminine, this has to come from, we're setting our heart free from situations where people promoted their own interests at the expense of our own, where we had to give up or neglect our self-interest in the, and this is the age-old story, right, of the feminine as the nurturer, right, the one who sacrifices for the other. All right, so there's an energy of that. There's an energy of anywhere where we've had to give up our sense of self in order for somebody else, for somebody or something else. All right, the Wolverine, though, there's like, it's this fierce, wild energy coming through. So really, it's like the divine feminine stepping back into her wildness too, in a way. So pay attention for people in your life who exemplify, who paint these power struggles, right? Where is this energy present? Where do you feel that tug of somebody attempting to assert, yeah, we got the snake coming out here, to assert their power or their dominance over you? This is where we take our power back in relationships with the world at large, right? Anywhere where we've been, this is like very Black Moon Lilith energy, right? Like the in coming through, but like in a way that's healed, in a way that's not the toxic energy or qualities of that, but the more divine qualities of that. There's been a lot of energy now and in for your lineage surrounding these this loss of power, this energy where the scales, right, thinking about the energy of Libra, were tipped unfairly to somebody else's advantage. This is also with the snake here. It's like reclaiming our sexuality, reclaiming our sexual energy. Anywhere where that has been used against us, or our power there has been taken away. And it's also reclaiming our intuition, really stepping more deeply into our feminine intuition, where we can notice when something is off, when something isn't right. And we know how to, it's not about noticing it, because a lot of us, we notice it. It's just, we have to learn to trust it. Trust that little voice inside of us that tells us when something's off balance, that tells us when someone's not being genuine, that tells us when something is not as it's being presented on the surface. And for some people, this is also like giving up toxic relationships, especially ones where we're sort of with people who treat us poorly, especially with people who ghost us, people who run hot and cold, people who use sex as a way to keep us sort of ensnared. Right? So some people, you may be finding during this Mercury retrograde that you're taking your power back from somebody who used to have a lot of power over you, because they used sex as that sort of like, that carrot to dangle in front of you. It was like you kept coming back for that energy for whatever reason. And they may come back again. If this is people that have been in and out of our lives, they may come back again. And you may find yourself this time standing up for yourself and not being drawn to that energy as you used to be. Yeah, just a lot of that energy. It's like we're really able to identify and spot toxic behavior and toxic people and remove them from our lives once and for all. Yeah, channel your knowledge, critical judgment, really being able to utilize our judgment. Oh yeah, and then on the bottom of the deck, as I just shuffled, Venus, the goddess of love, came out, which is the Empress. All right, so there's a lot of beautiful progress as we liberate this aspect of our nature. All right, I want to pull a couple cosmic reading cards now. Clear. All right, tell us more about this 9/9 Mercury retrograde energy here. This is really a time, the Spirit keeps bringing it back to this, where they want you to work on the energy of mastering that spiritual practice. Improvements require persistence, right? We have to put in the work. And the Ascended Masters want to assist us in our ability to have open, heart-centered communication with the people that we need to communicate with during this retrograde. If people reach out to us, especially people where there's still wounds, especially these wounds that we were talking about here, right? We want to pray to allow the Ascended Masters to help us to be in that space where we can communicate from a heart-centered place without worrying. I feel like some people worry that if we communicate from a heart-centered place, we're going to let people back into our hearts, give people access to our hearts that no longer deserve or have proven themselves worthy of that energy. And that doesn't have to be the case. We can communicate from a heart-centered place without opening our hearts back up in a way that is detrimental to us. But if you don't feel that you can, then if you're not able to set those boundaries and you know that right now, especially energetic, I'm feeling energetic boundaries, because some of these people, if they come back in, they want to communicate with you. If you are allowing them access to your energy during that communication, you don't know how to, like, the second they initiate communication with you, there's a psychic snare there. All right, there's a cord of energy that even if it were severed, reattaches. All right. And so they can immediately start feeding off of your energy if you allow them. And so if you know that you don't have the energetic boundaries to prevent that from happening, then don't communicate with them still. All right, but for people who do, some people, you really do have that now. You have that capability. And it's kind of like flexing that muscle and learning how to use it. And when you are able to do that, that really assists in healing, not only for you, but for your lineage, wherever some of these energies or issues were coming up. All right, we have mirrored souls and balance. This is beautiful. So this goes back to that 8-8 energy, that divine union energy that we were talking about, especially with that 26th, right? That conjunction of Venus and Mercury in the sign of Virgo, that 2-6 energy. What is this? We have a 21 and a 2. So we have the 2 energies here. But this to me feels like finding balance with somebody. It's like somebody who mirrors back what you need to see and heal within yourself. So this would be like what a lot of people would consider like twin flame type energy, right? Finally finding balance with that. Where it's like in the past with this person, what they mirrored back to you was painful. And it may have caused a lot of disharmony within yourself, within your connection. And some people may be reconciling with this person, with this energy, right? I'm definitely feeling that, or that energy coming back around for a revisit, even if it doesn't mean that you end up together in a partnership. Them coming around to clear the air, to cleanse some of this, to balance out this energy. But what you notice when you connect with this person again is that what's reflected back now is much more balanced, because you have become more balanced. And I feel like they have too. And this is where some people may come to realize and understand that the twin flame journey, as the way that I see it and understand it, and the way that many of us come to see it over time, isn't about being with that person romantically. So this person that you thought was your twin flame, this energy, right? This mirror may come back around and something new is reflected. And that in and of itself is very healing. But you may find that you are not, like, you're not meant to be, or you're not going to be in a relationship, in a partnership, the way that you thought you would anymore. One or both of you have moved past that into different energy, maybe. Or you just realize that there's a different type of relationship, different type of energy that's still love. And that's the thing, right? We're here to learn love with these souls. And love takes many forms. One of the greatest sort of misperceptions I think about love is when people hear the word love, often they immediately think of relationships, right? With an intimate romantic partner. But there are so many different versions of love, so many different ways to love. So some people may be finding a new level or experience of love. And for some, there is romantic partnership where you reflect back that balanced image now. And there's a reconciliation and a moving forward. Because you're connected, right? You're connected in the heart center. And you're connected, the head and the heart. This energy of the head and the heart again. And there's a beautiful merging of energy that takes place. Like a whole different type of portal of energy that's able to be initiated and opened between the two of you. Because you are so in alignment now where you weren't before. And for others where this isn't a person from the past, this is like you're getting ready. This process of releasing that we talked about, of stepping back into your power, calling back your feminine power, and balancing out your feminine and masculine, is drawing into your reality a soul who's going to mirror what it is that you are now embodying. A much more balanced vision of you. Anything else here? Be fearless. So this Mercury retrograde is calling for us to take some risks. It's calling us to step outside, as we always say, of our comfort zone, right? But it's like, Many of our deepest fears have been in the process of revealing themselves over these last couple of years, and we're really going to get an opportunity now to walk through some of those fears. And this is in love and partnership as well. Spirit is saying, be fearless. Don't allow, that's part of operating from the heart. When we're operating from the heart space, we're not in a space of fear. All right, when we're in love, we cannot be in fear. We cannot be experiencing both at the same time. So operate from this fearless place, this place of fierce and fearless love. And interesting, right? We have the 2-1, which adds up to a 3. We have the 2 here. And then we have the 3 card. So it's like the 2 energies that become the 3rd energy, right? It's like 2 become 1 and 1 becomes 3. Is what I want to say. Oh, and look what's on the bottom of the deck. 1-3, free spirit, and 3-3, transformation. Wow. Isn't that cool? There's a total freedom being gained here. The freedom to be who you are, the freedom to make your own choices, the freedom to choose who you want to love, how you want to love. I feel like for some people, that's part of what the fear was about. There was this energy of loving somebody who was not what other people expected, the person that other people expected you to be with. Maybe they're from a different social class, they're from a different race, a different religious background, whatever it is. There's something about them where people say that person's not for you. Or like it doesn't, there was like something about like they don't make you look good, or they don't make you look, there's just something about people don't like you with this person for some people. And part of this is you learning to liberate yourself from that energy and say, it doesn't matter what you think. This isn't your life, right? You don't know this person. Don't make judgments. Or make whatever judgments you want, but that's not affecting me and my choices and what it is that I desire and want in my life. I get to choose who to love. That's what this energy, for some people, if this is like a same-sex partnering or something like that, that could be what it is. Also that I'm picking up on people not accepting who you are in that aspect and who it is that you choose to love. There's just this powerful transformation of energy in general where we all step into shine, right? Oh, and then unconditional love under that. I love it, you guys. This is so perfect. Where we really are stepping into this freeness of being, right? This is that Aquarius energy again with the free spirit. This is also 13, that death energy, which is, of course, the transformation energy. So a lot of powerful transformation as we step more deeply into our authenticity. All right? As we celebrate our choices, we celebrate our path, we celebrate each other, we celebrate love and really learn how to live and embody that. But loving from an authentic place, right? I think a lot of people, what we're learning is that we're learning how to love from an authentic place. We're learning how to be who we truly are and be comfortable with that and not change ourselves to suit another person. There's a lot of that energy where we're moving out of that energy of people pleasing, that energy of changing ourselves in relationships or choosing relationships that please other people, right? Being somebody other than who we are in order to make somebody else happy. We're learning that we can be who we truly are and we will attract exactly who we're meant to attract. Right? But it's not even about that. It's about the self-love. There's just powerful, powerful transformative energies as we learn to see one another and ourselves in a brand new light. Really, really beautiful, powerful stuff, you guys. I feel like that really sums up this reading. I don't know if we really need to pull anything else. Maybe we'll pull a closing card, and I actually want to do the White Light Oracle. Enter the luminous heart of the sacred. That's what it says on the box. Yeah, we're going to pull a White Light Oracle to close here for this Mercury retrograde. Libra into Virgo. Clear. Give me a card for this. A closing card, some closing guidance from the White Light Oracle for my viewers for this Mercury retrograde extended 9/9 portal, right? So we have on the, well, I guess I'm reading you guys or acknowledging the bottom of the deck too, because I said on the bottom of the deck. On the bottom of the deck, we have Aurora of Gamma, and that's a very Venus-looking card, right? Really embodying that, once again, that divine feminine energy, that beautiful sexual, sensual energy. Really taking ownership. It's like really claiming our Empress vibes. That's what this feels like. Becoming the Empress. Each and every single one of us, male or female, we are stepping up. We are becoming the Empress, which is really beautiful. And then the card that was pulled is number 12, Perfume of Sophia. So I'm going to read that for you guys. You will be able to sense the best timing and approach to take. To create space for healing and resolution, connect to your body and ground yourself in the here and now with body-friendly practices. All right, so we're being reminded it's not just, and this is very Venusian energy too, very Empress energy, right? Coming into the body. This is how we balance the head and the heart, is by being present in the body. Ooh. All right, so that is just as important as balancing our mental space during this portal, during this Mercury retrograde. You will find your way intuitively and instinctively, even through confusing circumstances, where one moment you are sure the answer is no, and the next moment you are sure it is yes. And just as a caveat here, we are going to be flip-flopping a lot as we are seeing all these new perspectives. We're getting all this new information, right? So we want to wait, ideally, until Mercury retrograde and that shadow period is over to make any major decisions. Obviously, sometimes we have to make big decisions. This isn't saying, like, put everything off. But if you can, give yourself time to digest and process and integrate everything that's coming through during the retrograde. Give up trying to figure the answer out right now and remain open with positive but relaxed expectation that clarity shall emerge spontaneously according to divine timing. All right, and so I think that is for any of us who have been struggling with a choice or a decision. This Mercury retrograde is going to give us a lot more information. It's going to give us a lot more clarity, but that may seem more confusing during the process of unveiling. And that's why I'm feeling the High Priestess energy right now. And that's why we want to wait until it's concluded and just keep our eyes, our arms, and our hearts open. Keep our minds open during this time. Take in all that information, take in all of that input, and allow it to kind of like, what was the card on the bottom of the deck here that I saw? It was the wine card, I believe. So kind of like when you're tasting wine, right? You smell it first, you take a sip, you roll it around in your mouth. That's what we want to do with these choices and decisions. We don't want to allow ourselves to be pressured or to feel pressure. We just want to open ourselves up to the answers revealing themselves and trust that they will come. The right answers will come in divine timing. But it's about letting go of that need to force an answer, to force a conclusion, to force understanding, or a situation or circumstance when it's not ready to, it hasn't matured yet, right? This energy is all about what's the best wine. The best wine has that time to ferment. It takes that time. It ages, right? The longer it ages, the finer it is. Okay. Trust that your questions about your life will be answered. Even now, you are in the process of working your way toward the answers that will bring you clarity and higher understanding. There is a kindness in how the universe delivers a message. There is a story of 3 rabbis who went into a room and saw God. Sounds like some sort of interesting joke. 3 rabbis walked into a bar, right? One rabbi dropped dead, the other went crazy, and the third one became enlightened. It was the same room and the same divine presence, so what accounts for the different outcomes? When we are ready for knowledge, divine guidance is incredibly helpful in healing. However, we may need certain experiences to become ready, and this is where that High Priestess energy comes into play. She doesn't hide things from us in order to punish us or just to be cruel. She slowly peels back the veil as we are ready to see. However, we may need certain experiences to become ready. There is as much grace in veiling a truth as in revealing it. There is a beautiful Sufi teaching that destiny is granted with compassion. There is a time to prepare for knowledge, a time to receive it, and a time to live it. There is danger in trying to force knowledge. Force is the desire to progress faster than is naturally taking place. It is a disconnection from natural rhythms, the sacred feminine, the power of knowing and divine timing. The Oracle of the Perfume of Sophia asks you to trust your nose. The spiritual symbolism of the ability to smell is the capacity for discernment. In the words of Juliet in Romeo and Juliet, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. The nose knows. As you lean into natural timing rather than trying to force something to happen, you'll remain connected to your own ground of being. You won't be pushing to get ahead. You'll be in connection with yourself. You'll be able to sense with your body and soul that which might otherwise confuse your mind, with its tendency to argue first one way and then the other. You will instinctively sniff out the truth of a situation. Then you shall be able to do something useful with that knowledge. Developing the patience required to see us through times when we cannot know something, with trust and hopefully some equanimity. And this is where that energy of Jupiter retrograde comes into play too, right? This energy of developing trust and faith in the unknown, that's huge right now. It is an important part of our soul journey. I feel like for many of us, as soon as we develop, as soon as we learn to surrender and trust the unknown, that's when things get revealed. That's when we're ready to see, because that was the test. If such times evoke fearful and negative predictions or anxiety based on a lack of belief that you can deal with whatever arises with grace and dignity, then work on those issues. And that's very Jupiter and Aries, right? Do what you can do now. Leave everything else up to the loving and wise workings of the universe. If you are pushing for a resolution, an answer, and understanding before it is time for you to know, you'll feel frustrated. It will be more constructive and enjoyable for you to engage with what is. Will it require the development of your character, the capacity for patience, for trust and faith, for commitment and devotion? Even when there is no evidence you shall succeed? Yes, likely it shall. Especially if you are carving a path that is unique and creative. To live in such a way is wonderfully courageous and inspired and requires spiritual maturity. Aligning yourself with a greater wisdom and timing and surrendering yourself in its service is the basis of spiritual maturity. You will have your answers, and in the interim, you are doing beautifully. Continue with your journey. How perfect is that? I love that. That sums up so much of it for us, right? And then I want to read this card real quick, just the little caption here for you guys. Because this, I think, these cards work together to sum up the energy. It is time to let go of what has been. You are swiftly outgrowing your past. Explore and commit to a spiritual practice that supports your personal transformation so that you can cross the threshold before you now. Embrace your freedom to be creative in your approach rather than doggedly committing yourself to your previous plans or ideas. You have the spiritual intelligence necessary to evolve. Continue your healing journey with trust that a positive outcome is imminent. And so Aurora is the Roman goddess of the dawn, the bringer of light, and the initiatrix. Ooh, that's a new word. I like that. The initiatrix of a new cycle or chapter in your life. She is the luminous dispeller of darkness, the flickering flame of hope in the heart that can burn into such a radiant, holy fire that even the greatest challenges do not cause the soul to turn away in fear. Her presence in a reading signifies a fresh start and the overcoming of an old cycle. Boom. Right there, you guys. Gamma waves are high frequency, typically 40 hertz in humans, but extending to higher levels with hypergamma oscillating at around 100 hertz. Associated with spiritual insight and clarity, pure vision, and breakthrough awareness, The gamma state is associated with high-level processing that leads to integration and evolution. Ooh, you guys, this is part of what's happening to our minds during this Mercury retrograde. We are initiating these gamma frequencies in order to integrate all of the information and the knowledge, the downloads, the psychic insights, the upgrades that are coming through, to receive this clarity, to synchronize the higher mind with the lower mind. I feel like we want to look at what Uranus is doing during this Mercury retrograde as well. We had pretty much all of the other outer planets associated, right? We had Neptune and Pluto, but we didn't have Uranus. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. We don't need to look it up. Uranus is involved, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let's see. With the gamma frequency, we transform knowledge into wisdom through application. We transform knowledge into wisdom through application. That is a huge part of what this 2022 into 2023, I'm feeling, is going to be and has been all about. With the gamma frequency, oh, we just read that. We tap into our ability to integrate information, and in doing so, we are truly healed and transformed. As the world around us becomes increasingly complex, the capacity for superior processing is swiftly becoming necessary for the spiritual, emotional, psychological, and even physical well-being of humanity. There's a strong link between spiritual practices such as meditation and the production of gamma waves. Another reason, great reason to really be honing our meditation skills right now. When we experience a heightened state of spiritual awareness, an expansive sense of being, or a powerful connection with the universe or spirit, our brain is in gamma mode. Shifting our gray matter gears into gamma waves can facilitate the breaking up of stagnant modes of thinking and behaving. This is the sacred frequency of evolution. Humans who are stuck in patterns repeat the same stories, the same words, the same thoughts over and over as though on a repeated loop. The soul can begin to wither within such constriction. And so this is another aspect. This is what we're liberating ourselves from, right? What is needed is something new and increasingly alive, such as the life-stimulating grace of encounters with the unfamiliar. Connection to gamma waves can enhance our capacity to embrace the unfamiliar. And through that openness of being, constructive adaptation is enhanced. Our way of being becomes more fluid, responsive, and creative. We engage with our experiences and grow positively through how we respond to what is happening. Aurora of gamma indicates a shift into a new cycle, but also the growing presence of the light within, which is the creative light of spirit. Tuning into that light opens up options for soulful living, away from the grip of ignorance, no longer constantly ensnared by the compelling but ultimately fraudulent conjurations of ego. Her new era is an inner transformation with positive external consequences. Trust in what your inner light is manifesting in your heart and in our world. That's beautiful. Trust in what your inner light is manifesting in your heart and in our world. I love it. So working with those 100 hertz frequencies maybe as well. And like we said, working in meditation. All right. Beautiful. I think that says it all, you guys. I love you. I hope that you have a beautiful Mercury retrograde. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and let me know. If you know somebody who would enjoy this reading or benefit from any of this discussion, please share it with them. If you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, click the bell with the little squiggly so you can be notified when more videos come out. Welcome. You are so loved, so appreciated, and so seen. Let's see. There are links down below as well as a thanks button that YouTube has now added if you wish to donate, if you found these videos helpful and you want to donate in that way. But know that your energy and your time is a beautiful, beautiful donation. It is so appreciated. I love all of you. It is us together that make this tribe, that create this energy. And if I didn't have you guys, there would be nobody to read for. These readings would be a lot less interesting. So thank you so much for being here. Until we speak again.